Hello and welcome to the third episode of NottsPharmCast, the unmissable podcast series from Community Pharmacy Nottinghamshire. I'm Kirsten Atkinson, marketing consultant for Community Pharmacy Nottinghamshire, and today I'm joined by Rob Seven, our chair and also pharmacist, and Mike Jones, a former pharmacist, and our services implementation manager. In this podcast, we're going to be discussing the flu vaccination service for the 2025 to 2026 flu season. And I'd like to start with you, Rob, if I can. Can I ask you why the flu vaccination service is so important for community pharmacy?
Well, first of all, I would like to say it's important for the patients. It's also important for the pharmacists for a route of funding. But for patients particularly, flu is quite an unpleasant disease. And for healthy people, it's an unpleasant disease. But for the people who are elderly, pregnant, or have got underlying medical conditions, catching the flu can be very serious and result in hospital admissions. So it's very key that pharmacy plays its role in helping these people stay fit and healthy during the winter, and more importantly, keeping them out of hospital. Mm-hmm. And that's why the NHS have a yearly flu programme, and they do invest considerable sums in it. Additionally, this year, the government or the NHS have asked pharmacists to be involved in nasal vaccinations for 2 to 3 year olds. Now, this is a brand new service, and really, this is credit to all you pharmacists out there listening who last year did over 4 million flu vaccinations. It's showing the Commissioner, the NHS, that community pharmacy is the place to go for vaccinations. So this year's a brand new service, separate to the usual flu and COVID vaccination service, and it's purely focused at the moment on 2 to 3 year olds for the nasal vaccine service.
Oh, that's great news, Rob. Great news. And also, yeah, big up to the pharmacy contractors who do a fabulous job, as you've just explained. I think if I can move to Mike next. I know, Mike, you've been looking and having a think about top tips that we could perhaps offer pharmacists about delivering the service this year.
Yes, thank you, Kirsten. Yeah, we want to talk about top tips for this season, but also one thing in particular that we learned from last year, and that's what I wanted to start with, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
First thing we want to say really is about the importance of planning and appointments, because and that link with Pharmacy First, because this time last year the numbers of Pharmacy First consultations dropped like a stone during September, October and November, and we do think that that's because flu took over and the number of consultations for Pharmacy First dropped. Mm-hmm. So actually planning those services and thinking through how you're going to deliver Pharmacy First consultations, blood pressure and contraception, as well as flu, is really important for consistency for those patients. Yes. Who come into the service. I think the second thing I'd say is please read this specification for both services. Rob mentioned there the new 2 to 3 year old nasal vaccination, which is a brilliant opportunity. But even the normal seasonal flu specification has changed slightly. So please make sure you're reading the specifications of both of those before doing anything else. And to supplement that, a couple of things I would recommend is that you read the flu letter that has been sent to each pharmacy by NHS mail. That's been very important, and that was sent earlier in the year. And visit the CPE website, and where you'll find a host of great resources, including important dates that we need to hit. I think the next point I'd make is it's about using your time wisely to make sure that you take a good slug of time to read all of that documentation and plan your activities for the season ahead. As I said, because there are a lot of dates, and some of those deadlines are actually looming now, it will be really easy to miss those deadlines. And one of those deadlines is the registration for the national booking system. And if you registered for the national booking system last year and you have a log on, that's brilliant. However, if you haven't registered for the national booking system, applying by the 11th of August will make sure that you receive your login details before the 18th of August. After that date, if you want to sign up for the national booking system, it'll take 10 days to be received. So you're getting much closer to the start point. And actually, if you do that sooner rather than later, it means you can put up your appointments onto the system early, and then from 18th of August, those slots will become available for patients to book into. From the 1st of September, those slots will become available for patients to book in for vaccinations.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Mike. And my apologies to Mike. I got a text message just now from him to say he's still a pharmacist. He's not a former pharmacist. So my apologies, Mike. And Mike Jones is still a pharmacist, everybody. So my apologies, Mike. Some great tips there. Rob, do you have any of your own tips to add to those great ones from Mike?
I think Mike's covered most of it. Consider the 1st September a date when patients can start booking. From the 1st of October, you can start delivering the flu jab for the majority of your patients. Pregnant individuals can be done slightly earlier, but the 1st of October is the big go live date. The other thing that Mike alluded to was about the childhood service. There's a webinar being planned by Community Pharmacy England on the 20th of August. Get yourself booked onto that to listen to it. Register before the 31st of August, but please read the spec and consider if this new advanced service is right for you. CPE have already said it's not going to be right for everybody. So please read everything, consider how it's going to fit into your business model before you decide to take the offer up. If you do take the offer up and it's for 2 to 3 year olds, one of the big things I'm keen on is local marketing. So have a look at who the local nurseries are in your area. Are there local nurseries where you can go along and drop a little leaflet in to say that you'll be doing this service? And while you're there, also mention Pharmacy First, because we know children are key parts of Pharmacy First for such things as the ear infections and impetigo. So you've got a little chance here of a bit of dual marketing.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rob. There's a couple that I would just like to add, if I can. Very quickly, sign up your patients as soon as you can and promote the service to all of your patients. You'll probably know which patients had a vaccine last year. Mention it to them when they're coming in branch. Let them know. Spread the word. Also, take care when using the inclusion list in Appendix A. Have a look at that. Think through how you check if patients are eligible. That's really important. And just a final point, if you want to vaccinate off premises this year, you'll need to have prior permission from the commissioner to do that. So please be aware of that. But yeah, thanks both. Some really useful advice there for contractors. And I think I'm getting the feeling as well here that it really feels like this year in particular, the whole team need to be involved with the service. Would you agree, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. Engaging the whole team is just so important, because there's an opportunity now for the team to be talking to patients, to invite them back in for the flu vaccination from the 1st of October, so they can start to take those details now. They are your frontline marketeers really for this service. And I think the second place where engagement of the team is really important is if you have got a pharmacy technician, then this year they can be a vaccinator, which is brilliant for them and their professional development, as long as they've been trained, obviously. But certainly from the pharmacy perspective, having a checking technician who can vaccinate takes a big load off the pharmacist, so actually frees up the pharmacist to be available for other services that the pharmacist needs to do. And also, of course, make sure that the prescriptions get checked, etc. So I do think the team this year have never been more important.
Yeah. Would you
Mike's
agree,
there.
Rob? Yeah.
I would agree. Where I've seen and where I've worked, where it's been successfully delivered, it's using that whole team approach from the marketing to helping patients fill the consent forms in, to getting the appropriate information off them before you vaccinate them. It does make it much easier for the person doing the jabbing as such to have a good team around them that really all pull in the same direction and keep the pharmacy flowing nicely at the same time. It's when I vaccinate, we always leave 10 minutes, an hour spare sometimes so we can fit in other services as well, depending on your own makeup of your pharmacy and how your consultation room and how your pharmacy flows. Have a think about it, plan it first, and then that really helps you deliver a successful service.
Yeah, brilliant. Great. Would either of you like to add anything? I know we just talked about the children's vaccination service this year is new, 2 to 3 year olds. Anything there that you want to just sort of finish with? I know you mentioned that it was a little bit more complex and requires a little bit more planning. So again, I think as Mike, you said, you've got to read the service spec. You've got to understand this before you sign up for it. Anything else to add before we close?
I think for the children's one, just to add that the stock delivery is different than normal flu jabs. You don't purchase it, it's coming from the NHS, so it works similar to those COVID jabs for those of you who are doing the COVID jabs. So you've got to get your head around that process as well, and this is why we keep coming back to this one, don't we? We keep saying make sure you read the spec, make sure you read all the documentation, make sure you make a balanced decision on if you want to take part in this part of the service or not, because there's no point taking part if you're not going to deliver it well.
Yeah, it's great. Great insight, Rob. Mike, anything to add?
Yeah, there's just a couple of points to build on that, really. So that pharmacists do need to be registered if they want to provide the 2 to 3 year old children vaccinations. They have to be registered they should register themselves before the 31st of August, and that will then make sure that the right stock supply comes in. Rob's already mentioned the CPE webinar. That'll be I think that's a must do, really, if you're going to offer that particular part of the service. And
that's on the 20th of August, I think, Mike, isn't it? About 7:30 in the evening.
Yeah. And I guess in summary, because the children vaccination opportunity, it is an opportunity. Rob's made a great point about we are being allowed to do this because we have been so good actually at providing a flu service as community pharmacy over the past few years, which is a great step forward. But the second point is we keep coming back to this point about it is more complex. It does require more planning. And not only are there dates in there, but there are targets of vaccinations to be made as well, which have to be understood. Otherwise, you may not receive payments.
Okay.
So critically important, that specification.
That is very important, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. Some really great insight and tips and advice there. I really hope that anybody who's listening has found this useful. As always, please share the link to this podcast with your colleagues and peers. And if you've got any questions at all about the flu vaccination service, please don't hesitate to get in touch with the Community Pharmacy Nottinghamshire team, either via our website, email, on our socials, LinkedIn, Facebook. You'll find us there. So thank you, Rob. Thank you, Mike, for your time. And I look forward to speaking with you very soon.
Thanks a lot, Kirsten.